Hail, and welcome to Shadow of Space. And we are commenting on a BCP video today. This is called Liberals Demand Republican Fired from CNN After He Drops F-Bomb on Democrat Influencer Live on Air. This was uploaded May 1st, 5/1, funnily enough. This is being recorded on May 4th. Yes. And links in the description.
Scott Jennings, Sound the Sirens, Stage 5 meltdown on live TV. Play the clip.
They have been at war with us for 47 years.
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
Name one political concession. Name one political.
Well, it isn't that it isn't going our way. Again, I would argue that we don't. There isn't a clearly defined objective. What are we doing? Venezuela, we kidnapped their leader. Cuba, we're cutting off their oil. What is the plan for Iraq? What exactly are we hoping to accomplish there? I don't get it.
Hey, whoa. Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's
Everybody.
Ooh, it's caught in a trap. Triggered, party of one, your table's now available. Triggered, party of one, your table's now available. Okay.
Boy.
I love how they say that, and yet the blonde woman, I don't even know, they're both blonde. This woman literally gets so triggered that she has to reference small dick energy in order to make her point.
So we got to talk about fireworks.
Again, just they love to sit here and joke and mock people in their sensitivity, but if you mock a trans person, these people will literally go fucking apeshit. Like, it's so hypocritical. They are just as sensitive.
Doing
it doesn't matter.
Phillips' failing debate show because Scott Jennings finally snapped. He snapped on Adam Mockler, who is a liberal propagandist, right? He's an influencer who was trained by Midas Touch and the Bulwark, right? Like, he's clearly a plant, right? He's a college kid with a slick mouth. He's never really done anything in life, right? He doesn't really know much outside of the talking points that are given to him, the debate tactics that he's taught. Yeah, I mean, Scott Jennings, he was just fed up with having to deal with debating these lunatics on a nightly basis on CNN, and he dropped the F-bomb live on TV, telling Adam Mockler to get his hands out of his face. And I want to roll this clip because this clip is glorious. Take a look.
Is to extract political concessions from the enemy. Can you name a single political concession we've gotten from them? Anything at all?
I mean, like, you want to sit here and criticize him for telling him to get his finger out of his fucking face. And yet, well, it doesn't matter.
Are you talking to
Any political concession?
So
you can't name one.
So here's what we're doing.
No political concessions.
When you get up past your bedtime, you get hyper. Here's the deal. We
let's not
have a clear issue here.
You're shaking, bro.
We have a clear issue here.
We try to apply like normal rhetoric,
Really?
normal logic,
Because Elizabeth Warren, during her meeting the other day, was shaking because she was so angry.
like,
See, again,
evolutionary
just so if you're going to sit here and say that he got triggered saying an F-bomb, Elizabeth Warren at that meeting was triggered the whole time. She was shaking so bad.
As we do in a democracy.
The whole time.
Like, we're not Iran. We don't get to just like ignore the law.
Ignoring the international legal repercussions.
What are you talking about? Of course we get to ignore the law. the law is only effective if there is something there to enforce it. If you have a system that says every company has to have equal diversity for every person of an ethnicity, there has to be one person of a different ethnicity to make sure that it's all equal, but you have absolutely no punishment or any accountability for if they don't follow that standard, then what does having laws do? This was the lady who was saying that she would just abolish ICE. Okay, ICE is Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Their entire function is to make sure that immigration law is enforced. If you have no way to enforce laws, i.e., if you have no way to hold people accountable when they break laws, then you have no laws. If you have a law saying that you can't cut down a specific kind of tree because that tree is an endangered species, but there's nothing happens to you if you cut down those trees, then what actually stops people from going and cutting down the trees? The fact that it's a law? By that logic, no one should rape, no one should murder, no one should steal, no one should insider trade, no one should war profiteer, because there are laws against it. By that definition, no crime should ever happen ever, because there's a law that says that you can't do it. And yet people do it all the time, basically every day.
Right? We're talking about
Mysteries
that.
abound.
International legal repercussions.
This is a war of aggression.
What is international law? Who's enforcing international law?
Who is the aggressor here?
Us. We are the aggressor.
Against
we launched
Iran?
this war. Yes. Just because Iran exists.
Did all of U.S. history exist before the last 8 weeks to you? Or just
Well, see, because it isn't just us. Yes, we've been striking the area. Supposedly, Israel joined us in that very first strike when we attacked. So no, it isn't just us. It's also Israel is just as much to blame for the strike as we are. Again, as well as the fact that, well, I'm not going to say that either because I guess I don't actually know that.
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47
We
years.
all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars
Well,
more.
see, but I mean, if you want to be technical, I mean, technically, we're at a Cold War. We're in a sort of Cold War with Cuba in that, like, if they really wanted to, they could muster up their military and try to attack our oil boats to try and get some oil shipments. You've got the Argentinians who are thinking about launching offensives potentially on the Falkland Islands. You have China that wants to take Taiwan. Like, we are. You sit here and talk about how we are the fascists. We are in a modern continental power shift where everyone is vying for more land. Russia wants Ukraine, China wants Taiwan, South Africa is killing the native white South Afrikaners to take their land back. Like, no.
In debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat? Is that
Homie,
what you
I
have?
debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
Who was it? Hakeem Jeffries, who was on stage, was in some conference, and he swore live on stage. He said, "Damn," I think he did it again the other day. Like, why is it that when Scott, because he's about to do it.
Concession. Name one political concession.
Hey, whoa.
Honestly,
Guys,
I'm not going to have this guy's hand in my face.
Everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay.
Okay, nope. Are you ready? Okay, so you know how black people get away with saying the N-word by saying Nigga instead of ER. Okay, well, so he didn't actually say UCK, he said fugging, Fugging. He didn't say the word, he said a slur of the word.
No, everybody calm down, okay? We're having a debate. You can respond
Thank
to
you.
the points that he's making.
Can you name a political concession that we've got
I
here?
just had a flashback to the war the skinheads had in my studio.
I would be mad if I had to defend war too. I would be mad if I had to defend war.
Scott, you can respond.
We have
and
a
then
very
we'll move on.
simple. We have a very simple goal: to keep terrorists and a terrorist regime from having a nuclear weapon that can threaten the United States, our interests in the region, our allies in Europe, anybody else.
So
in
you
the
can't
world.
answer the
See,
question.
but so why would we then be worried about the Strait of Hormuz if the point is to eliminate their ability to create nuclear weapons? Wouldn't ground strikes or ground invasions to find more nuclear stockpiles in Iran be better than using our navy to secure the strait? What is our goal? Are those both goals at the same time? Are we trying to defend the strait and find these nuclear materials, which is part of the reason that we want these other countries to help in the strait so that we can be looking for the nuclear materials? Again, what is the objective? What are we trying to do? What is the point? What is the purpose?
All right, we're going to leave it there, guys. Next for us,
If you can't take the heat, then get the hell out of the kitchen. I'm sorry, but I just got off of CNN about an hour ago, and I am so sick of people who constantly dish it out, but cannot take it. This perfectly encapsulates...
He could take it. He didn't yell at a point that you made. He yelled about you sticking your finger in his face. Nobody likes that.
It's the entire Republican Party, because during my CNN hit, Scott Jennings was taking snide personal jabs at me. And listen, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I love to debate. I love to go on these debate shows, have a great...
He was, and you were making snide jabs at him. I love it. It's so humorous. You say, well, I just give that same energy back to you. So if they give you that energy and you give them that energy back to them, do you think they're going to back down and become more passive or more docile? Or do you think that they're going to escalate, and do you think that they're just going to return that energy back to you? Have you played the Ganon fight in The Legend of Zelda, where you have to hit his laser balls back at him? You do like a tennis where you have to hit him with it until he stops blocking it, and then he gets hit, and then you can get up and whack him. If he sends it at you and you hit it back at him, he's just going to hit it back to you. He's not going to stop. Like,
exchange of ideas. I mean, I started off by going to Trump rallies and having respectful conversations with his supporters. So it's amazing that we've gone this far, and this is genuinely one of my favorite shows to go on. But Scott Jennings has become increasingly flustered over the past few months since the start of this Iran war, and it came to a little bit...
Well, because you ask him questions that he doesn't really have adequate answers to. Part of that is that this administration is so... I don't even know what the word is. They aren't forthcoming with the information. They're not transparent. This war being an excellent example. Like, you played your hand. We blew up their supreme leader. We're blowing up their military. I feel like at this point, you can be a little more open with what it is that we're exactly trying to do in the area. They say that there are talks with Iran, but then Iran will come back and say, absolutely no one from the White House has contacted us. Where's the proof? Where's the evidence from either side? There's no way to know. It's Donald Trump's True Social versus Iran's X account. Where's the accountability? Show me Donald Trump getting on a phone and calling the leader of Iran and leaving a message saying, you got to call us. You got to make a deal. We're going to keep blowing you up if you don't. And then he hangs up. Where is that footage? He sits there and films the most mundane, useless aspects. Like that fucking embarrassment of a meeting with the goddamn Japanese leader, that one woman. Holy fuck. Just
a climax to nights. I am never somebody to talk about things like this in this manner, but I'm sorry, if you're going to dish it out to every single person that goes on CNN, if you are going to constantly try to corner people, constantly try to pick on mainly women, like I watch the show a decent amount, and when I check it out, he mainly finds women on the panel that he can kind of just like talk over and try to trap in a corner, but the moment that I reciprocate that exact type of energy, he snaps on me. He snaps on me, literally. There's a moment where he like tries to be like, Mom, this is a child. This is a child who is trying to do political punditry, which is kind of ironic because I think he views me as a child at the same time. I mean, I see the way he looks at me. He views me as a child engaging in politics, but
Yeah, so you see.
how old is Scott Jennings? Yes, to him, you are a child.
Now you heard that. Now, I understand why Scott Jennings went off. I completely understand. Night after night after night, you have to deal with individuals who are targeting him. Remember, I did videos about this, that these women, particularly women, and the liberal men as well too, they're targeting Scott Jennings because he's so good at debate. He's so good at making them look silly.
No. It's one where he is the token Republican. There are few times on this show where they will have a panel, or maybe it's more. It's one where I definitely don't watch the show, but they will only have one there will usually only be one or two conservative voices representing their opinion, and at least two to four Democrats. He's outnumbered basically every evening. That's neither equality nor equity. I don't understand what this is. A Democrat circle jerk where he's the clown and you all sit here and make fun of him. Like that isn't even a debate. This is literally just an echo chamber at that point. And at that point, I don't even know why you have him here. Why do you even bother? You sit here and you say that Republicans are fascists. You say that they're Nazis. You say that they're horrible people who do absolutely nothing but spread misinformation. And yet you invite them on your network. Why? Yeah, that is so hypocritical. Oh, those people are horrible, awful people that you shouldn't ever invite to anything ever because they're such horrible human beings. But we have them spew their corrupt misinformation garbage on our program because the Republicans who already aren't watching the show are going to stop watching? Like,
now started to demand CNN fire him because they don't like debating him, right? So they've been targeting him for weeks now, So
because this isn't the first time that this has happened. There was another video that he made where people talked about him making fun of other people and wanted him canceled. Which again, he doesn't get canceled. Look at Don Lemon. Don Lemon got fired. He has a channel that supposedly has subscribers. Enough subscribers to support him that he doesn't have to get another job. What is firing him from CNN do? It gets him off national news. It doesn't stop his voice. Alex Jones got sued and fired, and he still has a show. He still has a platform. He didn't get canceled. None of these people get canceled. That's just another Democrat talking point. It's just a lie.
You got to understand the backdrop of what Scott is going through at CNN, right? And for him to have to sit down at a table and to debate a college student, basically a recent college graduate who, again, knows nothing outside of the talking points that were taught to him by Midas Touch, Again, I mean, you talk about create a liberal, right? This is a build a liberal, right? A build a liberal. Okay, I mean, seriously, that's what he is. And then you got a socialist who is currently facing charges for obstructing ICE, attacking ICE agents, who just lost her Democrat primary election. She has no business on national television talking about issues like this, and you got to sit down and debate them. You have to treat those people as if they're your equals. I get it. I understand why Scott Jennings would be upset. Scott Jennings has been in politics for a long, long, long time, right? Since the Bush era, okay? He's an old school Republican. He really is. And again, to have to share the same platform, the same panel with children, right? Like children who, again, I mean, what?
I mean,
real
because
world
technically
job
he's got two of them, because she's young too.
has Adam Mockler worked, right? Seriously. I think he just graduated college. What does he know about anything, right? Seriously, like what has he done to warrant being on CNN, being on the same debate panel with a Scott Jennings or even a Geraldo, right? And this guy who was a former congressman. What has he done to merit that? He has a slick mouth. That's it, right? But I mean, if you actually listen to what he's saying is nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. He's asking Scott Jennings, well, name one political concession that we gotten out of Iran, which is a straight gotcha question, by the way. And the reason why is because the conflict is not over, right? We can't talk about what concessions have we gotten because the negotiations are still happening, right? The conflict is still happening. Once the negotiations are over and the conflict is over, then that question will be able to be answered. But he's asking a question that can't be answered because the conflict is not over, right? So, I mean, I know what we have gotten at this point, right? We have destroyed a lot of their leadership. We have destroyed a lot of their military capabilities. We have set them back, right?
I don't know, because they've mined the strait. Supposedly, they have enough military to be able to capture oil freighters in the strait. I believe they're still missile striking people, although I'm not entirely aware of that. So, and again, none of that answers the question of when do we know that the mission is over? When do we know that we've accomplished what we were there to accomplish and we don't have to be there anymore? What is the plan?
Are currently damaging their economy.
The question no Republican has an answer to, because as far as I'm aware, there isn't an answer. Knowing it when you see it is not an answer. I'll know it when I see it is not an answer.
There are negotiations happening. Whether or not
We'll know the war is over when we pull the troops out and there isn't a war anymore. It's not an answer.
Nobody knows. But I do believe that eventually they're going to be giving up a lot of concessions, right? And at that point we can talk about it. But as Scott Jennings is laying out, it's only been 8 weeks.
Well, because even you have said that we're just going to take the oil. Okay, well that's not if we're just going to go in and take things, then we're not waiting for concessions. We're just going in and taking things. What is the point? What is the plan?
Only been 8 weeks. That's it. That is a very short period of time for a military conflict. Everybody's trying to rush the president to get it over with, and that's just not how it works. It doesn't work that way. You just can't rush and get it over with. It'll be over with when it's over with. And then when it's over with, then we can look back and judge and say, okay, was this worth it? But it's only been a couple months. Yes, I know it hurts. Is it ideal? No. Is it something that I would have did? Probably not. But the president decided to do it, and the only thing I'm going to do at this point is hope for the best. But I can't draw a conclusion about how successful the operation has been until...
Well, of course you can. What is the objective? Is what we're doing getting us closer to the objective? This is like... We're going to make all these homeless programs, but we're going to have no way to measure how effective they are. Of course there's a way to measure how effective they are. Is homelessness decreasing? Are the people who are on the street, impoverished with nothing, getting things? Like, this is...
End of the operation.
No.
Right? The conflict is over. But liberals want to have a debate about something that you can't debate about until the conflict is done. It's not done. So
it doesn't have to be done. When you're losing weight Do you only know that you've lost the weight when you get on the scale and you're at your target weight? Or do you know that you're making progress by getting on the scale and seeing your weight decrease from what it is?
Frustration from Scott Jennings. He should not have to share a debate panel with people who are inferior to him, right? When it comes to this. And now they're attacking him. They're making him a target. They're going after him every single night. And, you know, again, when you talk about dealing with these kids, it's like, bro, why? But this is why I said in prior videos, if I was Scott Jennings, I would go to management, right? Go to management. Or, better yet, go get your own show on one of these networks that are looking for a Scott Jennings, right? I heard that CBS was looking for a Scott Jennings. Like, why relegate yourself to that CNN panel? It's really beneath you. But I get it. CNN is probably paying them a fat check, right? I get it. You know, I understand. But at the same time, the disrespect towards Scott Jennings has been out of control, and he finally snapped. So, again, liberals on the internet demanding that Scott Jennings be fired for this. Blowback ensued, with hordes of viewers rushing to congratulate Mockler on making Jennings crack. Quote, grown man on the verge of tears because he can't answer a question, Mockler teased on X in the wake of the incident. But as he undertook his victory lap, critics called for tangible change at the network, which was already under fire for promoting an analyst who does not tend to deviate from a MAGA hardline. I mean, again.
Sorry. As he undertook his victory lap. Is that the kid? Or is that Scott Jennings? Critics called for a tangible change at the network, which is already under fire, for promoting an analyst who does not tend to deviate from a MAGA hardline. From a CNN anchor. Okay.
It's so funny to me. They're mad that Scott Jennings is being consistent, right, with his opinions. But yet, all of these liberals go on CNN every single night, and they don't deviate from the Democrat talking points. When does Adam Mockler ever deviate from defending Democrats, right? Never. But they don't have a problem with that, though.
Lighten up, Scott. Mockler is almost a kid, and a nice one at that. Either way, Jennings should be fired. As James Earl Jones announces every so often in the network promos, this is CNN, not an episode of the Jerry Springer Show.
Right? They don't find that to be disingenuous, right?
Then tell the Democrats who engage in the same behavior as he does to stop. See, because if it's just him, then it's just him. But if you engage in it with him, then you're just as bad as he is. Then you are just as guilty, or should be fired, just as much as he should. He's a baby who snaps at people on the show. They're all babies who snap at people who come on the show.
Do you agree with everything the Democrats do? I'm just saying. Former CNN anchor Jim Acosta called for hothead Jennings to be fired, writing on his Substack. He said, quote, listen up, Scott. Mockler is almost a kid and a nice one at that. Either way, Jennings
almost
should be fired.
A kid?
As James Earl Jones announces every so often in the network promos, this is CNN, not an episode of the Jerry Springer Show. Recalling his own interactions with Jennings, Acosta added, quote, Jennings was a bit of a hothead when I worked at CNN. I recall his glaring at me following one segment when I fact-checked him in real time. But wow, what happened Thursday night was next level. Mockler really got his goat. Keith Boykin, a former White House aide to Bill Clinton, also joined the clamor for Jennings to face the axe. Quote, Jennings should be fired, he wrote on Thread. He then referenced the fracas directly. Quote, I've been on the air with Scott many times over the years. He is a paid CNN contributor. I'm not telling a fellow panelist to get your effing hand out of my face is unacceptable.
But saying that Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck should have happened is acceptable?
Boykin continued, this is the same guy who lectured me about taking the Lord's name in vain because I said Jesus Christ once when he wouldn't let me speak without interrupting. When I was under contract with CNN, I was told the contributors serve as brand ambassadors. Is this the brand? Yeah. So you got all these people
Here, hold on. Earlier this year, Jennings was described as corrosive to the brand by Democrat strategist and one-time CNN regular Julie Wojcinski, who sacrificed her future with the network to speak out against him in a stunning Substack post. It was titled, "I am probably about to be banned from CNN, but someone has to say this about Scott Jennings," and included a bevy of accusations against the GOP strategist who has a close relationship with President Trump. On Friday, she reacted to her foe's latest outburst, writing on X, "Said it before and I will say it again. CNN beclowns itself by platforming Jennings. The many serious journalists there are tarnished by having to share a network with this unserious, insecure Trump proctologist."
Are upset with Scott Jennings, right? You got Julie Roginski, who called for Scott Jennings to be banned from CNN, right? She said, quote, "Said it before and I will say it again. CNN beclowns itself by platforming Jennings. The many serious journalists that are tarnished by having to share a network with this unserious, insecure Trump proctologist."
Oh.
On one of her gripes with Jennings was that, quote, "he talks over women with particular frequency. One such victim is Nara Tanden."
I mean, he kind of talks over
The
everyone.
former senior advisor to Joe
I don't know.
Biden, who has had her run-ins with the emotional MAGA acolyte. The key issue is that Mockler's hands was not near his face. She reacted on X. Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. I think the actual damage to CNN's brand is
I mean, I guess
platforming all
we'd
these
have to
liberal
watch it
lunatics,
again.
right? I think that's the
Hold up. Can we find it? There, hold on. 1343. Here, because actually it was at the beginning, right?
Defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not
Can you
going your
name
way.
one political
Get your
concession.
fucking hand out of my
Name
face
one political
first.
concession.
whoa,
Honestly,
guys,
I'm not
excuse me.
going to
Hold
have
on.
this guy's hand in
Everybody,
my face.
everybody.
I mean, he was definitely like waving his hand around in the vicinity of him.
all
I
these
don't know.
liberal lunatics, right? I think that's the actual damage, not Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings is the only reason that show has any viewership. If they get rid of Scott Jennings, that show might as well just go ahead and cancel itself, right?
I don't know. I have no idea. If you're a Republican, I don't even know why you would watch CNN other than getting like the opposite side's take. Just
It might as well just go ahead and fold. So these liberals better be careful what they ask for. Scott Jennings will have an audience that follows him. He will have a platform that is very important, okay, that is significant, that is influential. A lot of these liberals don't have that, right? They don't, okay? They really don't. And that's another reason why they're so jealous of Scott Jennings. Behind closed doors, right? They in the break room, boo-hoo whining, cry, "Oh, Scott, so hard to debate. Oh, he attacks a woman. He keeps talking over me. Why does he never disagree with Trump?"
well, see, again, I don't understand that argument. When Roland Martin says that that is what you should do, is if someone says something that's wrong or incorrect, you should immediately jump in and interrupt them and stop the misinformation and stop the wrong argument. He literally says that you should interrupt people. So why is it that when Scott Jennings interrupts people because he thinks they're wrong, it's inappropriate? But then Roland Martin can say with confidence on his show that not only should you interrupt people, but it is standard operating procedure to interrupt people. It makes no sense.
Jump him, right?
There's no standard.
All these liberals in the back room, boo-hoo whining, crying about Scott Jennings, plotting how they're going to try to get him banned from CNN, right? That's desperation. That's how you know you're effective. So all I'm saying is that liberals better be careful what they ask for, because if they actually get rid of Scott Jennings because they're boo-hoo whining, crying, they're not gonna have a show to debate on, right? they're gonna get rid of that show because it's already a very poorly rated show. The viewership is already bad, right? It's only gonna get worse if they get rid of Scott Jennings. So, hey, sometimes liberals just have to find out, right? You got to give them what they want, give them what they ask for in order for them to learn a lesson.
Well,
That
see,
Scott
again,
Jennings is the only
I
reason that
I
show.
I don't know why. I don't know what the problem would be with Scott Jennings getting fired. Like, what's like? You don't want CNN to continue to really operate as it is anyways. So I don't know why you would be upset with them potentially having to go bankrupt just because people don't watch their show, or that show in particular. I mean, more than likely you'd probably get someone in the government who just bail them out anyways. Doesn't matter. He's almost
Has
done.
any relevance at all. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment.
Well, because so much of the media is just echo chambers. It's when we're, no, they probably don't get a lot of Republican viewership, but they probably get Democrat viewership. Just, again, he's probably one of the only, like, conservative people on the show. On any of their programming. Maybe there are more. I don't know. I don't watch CNN. It's on, like, when it's really just the both sides playing each other. And it's humorous because now they've gotten to the stage, and I guess they were maybe a little bit like this before, where they were like, why are you backing down? Don't back down or change positions. Be consistent on at least some issues. Now they're like, no, we should be able to say what we want, which again, arguably, like, people thought that it was okay to celebrate Charlie Kirk. So, like, and the people who got fired, they all said, you shouldn't be fired for free speech. Okay, so why should he be fired for free speech? Why should he be fired for saying what he wanted to say? Again, what you think is irrelevant. If the kid was waving his hand around, because he talks a lot with his hands, and Scott Jennings got annoyed with him constantly pumping his fist near his vicinity, was annoyed with this constant this constant updraft of wind that was being created by his constant waving his arm around. He got annoyed with it, and he eventually told him to stop. He snapped. No, he didn't. He set the boundary. He said, get your hand out of my face. I don't want your hand. And then he proceeded to say, I don't want his hand in my face. Just because he did it forcefully doesn't mean he snapped. This is like, isn't this like man behavior? Isn't this male behavior? I don't know. You can't ask me. But free speech. Like, shouldn't he be able, like, if he feels like this kid's hand is too close and he's annoyed and he doesn't want his hand in my face anymore, he has a right to say, would you stop waving your hand around, or would you scoot a little further away from me because I don't like your hand that close to me? Just because he didn't say it that way and he said, get your fucking hand out of my face, so he didn't say it in the nicest way. He was also annoyed that he was doing it.
Comment and subscribe, most importantly, share.
Again, it's really just what happens when you get annoyed or when you get angry, when you get in that emotional state, is it overrides the thinking. So, I don't, like, someone getting fired for saying, I'm happy that Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. To you, that's unthinkable. Why would someone get fired for that? That's their free speech right. But when Scott Jennings says, get your fucking hand out of my face, that's inappropriate. That's crossing a line. You want him fired for that. So, someone getting shot, celebrating someone getting shot is acceptable. But him wanting to defend his personal space is not. I thought we had free speech. I thought you could say anything. I thought it didn't matter. All of a sudden, arbitrarily, for no reason, it matters. They just make it up. It's why they're so tedious to listen to, because they just make it up. Well, if you're going to make it up, then I can make it up too. I can be just as wrong as you are, and that doesn't make you any more right than I am. Doesn't make me any more right than you are, but it means that I have no reason to just follow along with what you think at all. Free speech. I don't have to believe what's true. Like, I don't. All I have to do is say what my truth doesn't have to be true. And at what point do I have to give up my truth to assimilate with the group's collective experience? I mean, that's like saying that someone who was raped doesn't get to talk about their rape because it doesn't happen to a whole bunch of other people, so they must be an outlier. It makes no sense. There's no standard. They do the exact same thing that they complain that other people do, which is they weaponize law enforcement, they weaponize the legal system, they weaponize legislation to go after people that they don't like. Look at Mamdani. I'm going to raise the taxes on wealthy people to go after landlords, to specifically attack the wealthy. I thought we weren't supposed to use the government to I thought we weren't supposed to weaponize the government to go after people. Apparently, according to Mamdani, that's completely acceptable behavior. There's no standard. They just do what they want. They do what they want. Like, that comment, if you can't take the heat, then don't dish it out. That's so stupid, because absolutely none of you can handle the heat, ever. Ever. It's complete hypocrisy. It doesn't matter.